welcome back. Brian Fennessy, who is here with the Orange County Fire Authority. Now, he says he's not new, but he's been in this position as chief for about 15 months, but he's new to us here. So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I know it's not new, but nonetheless,
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about your position and what it requires.
Well, I'm the fire chief of the Orange County Fire Authority, and with Garden Grove coming on in August, we'll have nearly 80 fire stations serving nearly 2 million people, 500,000 or 500 square miles plus. It's a huge responsibility.
Right.
You know, we're responsible for the unincorporated areas and soon to be 24 cities. So it's a complex job, but it's being around firefighters, and having been one for 41 years, I love it.
Well, now you were where before?
I was with the city of San Diego. I started my career in 1978 with the U.S. Forest Service, and I spent 13 years on hotshot crews, leading crews all over the western U.S. on forest fires and whatnot, and was hired in 1990 by the city of San Diego, worked my way up, and was the fire chief when I left for 3 years.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. So we were talking about San Diego beforehand. Is there a big difference between the area of Orange counties and the area of San Diego and what you need to prepare for?
I think there are geographically some of the topographic features, some of the weather, local weather features, but a lot of similarities. I mean, as I often say, there's no greater threat to life and property than wildland fire. I used to say that in San Diego, I'm saying that here in Orange County, and
Right.
the reality is that statewide, many of the same fire challenges, the response challenges are very, very similar. Just a much larger population here in Orange County, and again with neighboring LA County.
Right. So let's take a look at some of the areas that you were talking about. So we had huge fires last year, and then now we've had all this rain, and so we have tons of overgrowth. So how do you prepare for the ones that maybe don't have as much to burn versus the ones that do?
Well, you know, anymore, we don't. Everything is going to burn. You know, we went through such a period of sustained drought that, you know, much of the vegetation on our hillsides has died. We can't see it today because now we've got all this new green growth around it, and we've got all these new grasses that are now cured. But that dead fuel, and that's what we consider as fuel, is still in our fuel bed here in Southern California. So the threat for large, rapid-moving wildland fires exists.
So I think maybe because we've had so much rain, we think the ground is soaked still, but you're saying that's not the case.
It's not the case. You know, the grasses, I haven't seen the grasses this thick in many, many years throughout Southern California.
Okay.
We've been given a little bit of reprieve with this weather and the late spring rain, but trust me when I tell you, as soon as the sun comes out and we get a few days of warm weather, all fire departments in Southern California are going to be running calls on grass fires.
Right.
The larger vegetation is going to take a while to dry out. We're going to be into July and August, but when it does, that dry grass is going to move into that now dry brush, and we're going to experience large fires.
Right. What are some of the things that maybe the fire authority is doing, or maybe local cities are doing to help prevent that from happening? I mean, obviously it's super thick. Are there things that they're doing?
You know, we're asking that, you know, homeowners, HOAs, the communities prepare, you know, their home, you know, to give us defensible space, 100 feet of clearing, you know, between the structures and the fuel bed. But, you know, the Orange County Fire Authority is out. You know, we're preparing roadside. We're doing a lot of work along the roadside.
Okay.
We're moving vegetation. We've got hand crews that are doing a lot of fuel management and other things. But it's a year-round process
Right.
now. The fuel just continues to grow.
Right, which I mean, we can't complain because we have such a beautiful area
We
to
do.
live in. We don't want it completely taken over by houses.
We do.
So,
Right.
so good. Thank you for doing all of that you guys are doing to help us prevent it. So let's talk about evacuations.
Sure.
I mean, we're in an area here that's, you know, pretty centralized, but if something was to seriously happen here, what are some things they need to consider?
Well, you know, people, we like to talk about ready, set, go. You know, we want people to prepare in advance of that emergency. Nobody thinks it's going to happen to them. When you talk to people after the emergency, they will always say, well, I never expected it to happen here. You know, and then we talk about being set, you know, having people and pets ready to go. You know,
Right.
what's your plan? Have a plan. You know, have your papers all gathered up in one place, prescriptions, pictures, your personal computers. You know, the last fires that we went to, you know, when homes were on fire, we're bringing out computers because those hard drives are where everybody has their
Right.
pictures and their valuable documents. Have your credit cards, have your debit cards, and we say go, it's time to go. You can do nothing worse than delay and think you might be able to sustain or survive the fire or whatever emergency it may be. But then once you put yourself on the road, as we're trying to get in, that is a recipe for disaster.
Wow, wow. Well, we have a lot of plans in place here in our community. They've got, community captains that help with emergencies, and I think that the security does a really good job here, and we have disaster preparedness. What are some additional things that you might tell our community about?
Well, and you're exactly right. I got a tour here not long ago, about a 3-hour tour, and I'm so impressed with this community. It is far more prepared than largely any other community that I've run across. One of our directors, OCFA directors, Noel Hatch, led me on this tour, and people here are doing it right. I would offer up that people just need to maintain their vigilance. Again, understand that it may not be a wildland fire. It may be a power shut off. It might be a fuel leak. Who knows what it may be? But to be prepared. This is a beautiful place, like you say, to live. But Southern California is known for its disasters.
Okay. So emergency medical response. I am sure that there is a ton of 911 calls that might not be a medical emergency. So at what point should they call 911 and they shouldn't?
Well, I mean, we really encourage people, if you think you're having, a medical emergency, call 911. It's best to do so. Let us come out. We send paramedics and all of our apparatus. Let us come out and assess you and evaluate. But prior to our getting there, have your medications ready. That will save time. Gather them all up. Be prepared to provide us your history, or your caregiver, provide us that history. But don't hesitate. Too many people will deny that they're having the symptoms they are, and by the time we do get called, their conditions can be quite serious.
Right. So what would be the circumstance that if you say, I don't want to call 911, just drive me over?
Yeah, that's probably not a scenario you want. And I had a recent experience with that with my own wife, who was having a difficulty, and she did not want me to call 911, and she did not, and I had to do it, and it was the right thing to do. But I mean, that's very common. We're embarrassed by that, right? We don't want people coming into our homes and putting monitors on us. But our firefighters are some of the best. I mean, they're paramedics. They're very kind. I get so many compliments about how our firefighters treat people. Over my career, I've largely found that people have 3 expectations. A, that we get there quickly when they call 911, and we do that here in Orange County. That we know what we're doing, which we do. Our firefighters are amazingly well trained, and that we're kind and compassionate, and we treat people with dignity. Those are the calls I get mostly from people, or calls to tell me that, hey, listen, even though the emergency your firefighters responded to ended tragically, perhaps even a loved one's passing, I'll have a family member call and say, I just want to let you know how kind your firefighters were to me and my family in our time of need. It was amazing, and I just get chills even talking about it. That's what I'm really proud of.
That's great. I mean, congratulations. That's awesome. So let's talk about, the overall Orange County Fire Authority services. I mean, obviously you've gone through a few. Are there things that we don't know about?
Gosh, we're involved in everything, right? I mean, this is a big metropolitan fire department. You've got LA City, which is another large metro, LA County. You've got Orange County. All 3 of us are involved. You name it. We operate large, complex aircraft operations. Each of us has, our own, FEMA Urban Search and Rescue Task Force. We have one of 28 nationally. So we actually watch what's going on in the southeast, and when there's hurricanes coming, because hurricanes affect us here. I might have to send 60 to 80 of my members and the task force on the road or flying out to major disasters throughout the country. We do hazardous materials response. We do heavy rescue response. We do swift water. You name it. We are what's called an all hazards fire department. And when you join this department, there are just so many avenues you can go. It's wonderful.
Well, what if somebody did want to join the fire department? What do you do?
We encourage them to do so. We're hiring 100 a year.
Wow.
And so we are still recovering a bit from the recession when everybody froze hiring, but yet retirements, continued. And so again, the large organizations in the state We're hiring about as fast as we can. You go to our website, www.ocfa.org.
Okay.
And anything you would want to know about what it takes to become a firefighter, how to apply to be an Orange County firefighter. We're encouraging women to apply.
Great.
We're encouraging, we want a very diverse workforce. And there's just so much value in it. I come from a fire department that had a lot of women on the job.
Okay.
And they do a great job right alongside their male counterparts.
Excellent. And then what about volunteering? So we have a lot of community members that would love to volunteer. What do they do?
We have lots of opportunities. I mean, we have CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team opportunities. Almost each city in the county has those. And again, if you go to our website, there is a list of things that you can be involved in.
Great.
Folks that are thinking about becoming firefighters, we have an Explorer program, we have a Reserve program.
Okay.
We have a number of events that, where we need help, from volunteers. We love our volunteers.
Good. Well, we'll be sending that out. So you guys, if you want to help them out, then just go to the website. So,
we'd love to have
all right.
you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
very nice to have you on, and we'll keep track of you. We'll have you back again.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks. And remember, the Orange County Fire Authority is not just for fires, for a variety of other things. So go check out their website so you can learn more. We'll be right back.